going to invite you to come back again to do this. What's your favorite chapter in the book?
My favorite chapter is the chapter on Zan. And I tell you why, because not only was it a pleasure to sit and talk to him, he's such a sage and such a humble person, but Zan had the awesome task of garnering respect from all sides, from the political startups to the political revolutionaries to the establishment, the whole 9 yards. And he was the only person that could pull everybody together. And he did it. He did it out of love. He when I teach classes sometime, and I always say there are no wrong answers, just some answers I have to shape a little bit more. But that's what he did. He always made everybody feel like they were major contributors, and as a result of that, they were somebody. So I think the stuff that we said about him was probably one of my favorites.
Now about Zan Holmes, Reverend Holmes, Pastor Holmes. Pastor Holmes is special to me because we both share the same birthday.
Really?
February 1st.
Okay. Well, yeah, y'all are great people.
Yeah.
And I talk about that. Not before he ever got to Dallas, he was out of Waco. His dad was a pastor, and everybody, my ex-in-laws, all knew him because they were all from South Texas, the Bryan area, Austin. And one of my ex-wives, Ann, said, "Oh, you talking about Sweet Jesus?" I say, "Sweet Jesus? Are you serious?"
That's in the book.
And so I went. I say, "Pastor, are you Sweet Jesus?"
Yeah, he got a cool laugh.
Well, Hall, so yeah, that was probably my favorite chapter because that was my favorite sit-down conversation.
Now, Pastor Holmes, my oldest daughter, Janelle, we were attending St. Luke at that time, and Pastor Holmes was the third man to hold my daughter. Really? I was the first. My father was the second. Pastor Holmes was the third.
For christening or?
Just period.
Okay. Wow.
Christening as well, but period.
Yeah, he baptized my daughter too.
Yeah, so we got all that in common. All that in common.
Yeah.
That was a great chapter on that. Tell me about some other chapters on here. I read them all. I'm just stumbling over my words.
As a matter of fact,
and it's like I'm gonna go through some of them, man.
Yeah, and while you're looking, I told Commissioner, I said, I hope you don't get into trouble because I've always said.
There's some of this stuff in there you can get them in trouble.
I'll tell you one part that writing was really interesting was because that moment would never die for me. John told me one morning that he was on his way to KHVN to meet Robert Ashley and Dwayne Caraway. And I said...
That ain't in the book.
It's not in the book?
No, I'm saying... Let's folks...
Is that not in the book?
No, because you remember I called you, man.
Yeah, I thought I put that in there, but you want me to tell the story?
Yeah, go ahead and tell the story, because it's not in the book.
It was wild because...
Man, it's crazy.
That morning, I always talk to God, but he doesn't always talk back. But that morning he said, tell John to be careful. And so I called John and said, hey, man, I said, be careful. I said, I love Robert, but, he's a sensationalist, and you can't never tell what Dwayne's going to do. Dwayne knows that more than anything, he needs to get you in the ring so he can get some push out of this. I said, be careful. Whatever you do, don't hit nobody. Whatever you do, don't hit anybody. Just back up.
Those words going to come back again later on. Go ahead.
So he gets over there. And so I didn't know it until I got a call later on. But when he got over there, Dwayne's bodyguard jumped up, and Dwayne jumped up and said, "You did my wife," and blah 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 blah. And even John told me, man, I was just taking him back. I don't know what he was talking about. And he went off on him, and then this great big bodyguard, was acting like he was going to. Holding him back, and we both
was off for Richard Pryor.
We both know John would have torn up that whole studio with both of them. It wouldn't have lasted long.
And see, you was at work. I don't know. I think you was at work. I know I was at work.
Yeah, I was at work. Yeah.
And I called you up because I'm listening to it on the air.
Right.
I'm going to say, man, are you at the station?
I said,
no, I'm at work.
I
said, I didn't even say anything. I said, me call commissioner right now.
And
we got on a 3-way.
That's right. And I called the office, and they said he's not here, and I couldn't get him for a while. And then when he finally called me back, I said, man, what happened? He said, man, they over there being crazy. He said, but, man, one of my white friends just called me and said, I'm on All-Star Hip Hop. No. What is it called?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
World Star Hip Hop. Yeah, thank you. World Star Hip Hop. What does that mean? I said, World Star Hip Hop? I said, I went out there and looked at it. And, of course, by this time, Dwayne has jumped up from the table and, like, I'm going to get him. And just the same thing they did in sport to show you a bunch of foolishness in wrestling. But it was one of those things where, I was just so glad.
I wish he had put all that on there.
I thought I put it in there. But, it was one of those, I was hoping. That day I said, man, whatever you do, don't get in no scuffle with that boy.
That's the secret, the reason why I read the whole entire book. I wanted to see my name in. So, man, because I normally I'm just like deferential. I said, now get them on the phone now.
Believe it or not, I cut out 6 chapters. And so there's some stuff in some of those chapters that I wish I could put in. But we're already over
356 pages.
I know, but I had another 100 pages. It would have been another 100 pages in that book. And this book was already really too big. They don't like doing this book this big.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So yeah, it was one of those days where
But see, it already did that. I think it was about 2 weeks before, because the only time I ever got fired from somebody, I did 41 years, 10 days AT&T. Never got fired.
which is
Molly Belt fired me.
Oh, at the paper?
No, not at the paper, because Dwayne had bounded up on the stage when they were doing Monday Night Politics.
Monday Night Politics, yeah, that's right.
And, she said you didn't have control of the deal. Cause,
man.
Dwayne came up there on stage and everything like, I'm Superman.
Yeah, and it was such...
And then 2 weeks later, I saw it was on Robert Ashley, and Robert Ashley that was a setup, man.
Yeah, it was a setup. It was a straight setup.
Because Robert Ashley wasn't even in the room.
And I'm just glad because, we had finally gotten over, in the book, and I go through it, there was a run-in with a cop who ran across his yard.
That was from Lancaster.
In Lancaster, yeah.
Yeah.
No, he was Dallas cop.
No, but he lived in Lancaster.
Oh, okay, lived in Lancaster.
Yeah, he lived in Lancaster, and he on 5th Street?
On 5th Street, yeah.
In Dallas?
Yeah. But, Town Lake is there, so a lot of people say that.
Okay, all right.
Then the other one was he had the 2-in one day where he hit the jogger that tried to run through the picket
That's in the book.
And run through the women. And then that same day, the kickboxer, Tim, who was an actual kickboxer, a ranked kickboxer, who just happened to get into a fight with him. They just knew he was going to whip John, and he ended up getting his ankle broke. And so we had gotten over all that. We didn't need any of that. So I was trying to get him past that. But then when I heard that about World Star Hip Hop, I was like, oh my God, what did you do?
I tell you.
And people were calling me like, well, was John with his wife? I said, no.
Went viral.
Yeah. And I felt so bad for Carol, his wife. I know Barbara. And I know her sister. And I was like, man, why would you say that? Why would you do something like that? But it was a setup. I mean, he's all about, I make no bones about it. He ain't my friend. The dude he's somewhere else.
Well, I'm going to have him on the show next week.
That's good.
So,
As long as I'm not here, that's fine.
Yeah,
y'all do whatever y'all want to.
Do. So, hey, that being said, I just want to throw it out there.
The ratings will go up for sure. Now, he gonna do something now.
Okay, all right. Now, talking
to get his hair fixed in time. He do something.
Man, look, I can't have you come back again. When you come back?
Whenever you get ready.
Okay, that's good for ratings, right? So that being said, this whole thing here that I'm reading, it is balanced, man, because you do talk about things that happen, but you don't spare no punches.
No, and a lot of people think it's a glossy about John.
No, it's not.
I didn't do any of that because that's not the kind of guy he is. What a lot of people don't understand is all the stuff we see in the media about John, he has no idea. He's never Googled himself. He doesn't know how many pictures out there. Some of them are crazy. Some of them are good. He has no idea. He doesn't, his social media, he doesn't rifle through all that stuff. He never reads the headlines. He never knows anything.
Does he do his Facebook?
Huh?
Does he do his Facebook?
No, most of the time he doesn't. I do a lot of this stuff. Every once in a while I tell him what's going on, but for the most part.
Is he watching now?
He doesn't have to. Oh, yeah, he's probably watching now.
Okay.
Just because I asked him to watch.
Okay.
Just to make sure. But, and he knows who you are. But a lot of people think that he's into all that sensationalism. That ain't his thing, man. He had, the only way he knows that he's in the paper any given day is somebody call him. He not gonna look at that. Not at all. He's not gonna do it. The man he is about work. He is married to Dallas County. That's exactly what he does.
Is it true he gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning? He's in the office
morning.
at 4 o'clock?
4 o'clock every morning. And now his gym is downstairs from the office, which is horrible because he don't get no rest now. Because they put a gym in the county building downtown.
Just for him?
No, it's some other people that actually work it. They got trainers in there, the whole 9 yards. But the problem is, he goes in there at 4 o'clock.
There wouldn't be no problem.
He does weights. He got a few other people that come in there with him. He leaves there and goes straight to the jail. He goes over to the jail and makes sure everything there is right. He makes sure that a lot of people don't understand it, but as one of my jobs at Parkland, one of the things that Parkland does, and I'm on the board at Parkland, is that we actually run the intake and the hospital for the jail. The jail has its own hospital, 189 beds. And when people come into the jail, the first thing that we do is do a mental screening and do a background check and then do a health check on every person that comes through.
And you're on the Parkland board. You're the chair of that?
I'm the chair of the Parkland board. Yes,
okay.
Sir.
Now, we had some questions earlier about Parkland, and we won't handle those this time because he's here to sell his book and everything, so we want to do that.
Yeah.
Other material that's in the book. A good white man is hard to find.
In Dallas.
In Dallas,
yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
Explain that chapter.
Well, I mean, what we're saying is that when it comes down to it, when you have people, because a lot of good white Democrats are still very patriarchal. That's what I'm saying. If there weren't any good white men, we'd still be in chains. John Brown, the revolutionary. You got Mark Herbner, a preacher here in Dallas, who really did his thing, man. This man could have gotten run out of town, and he didn't. And so what I'm saying is, when it comes down to it, there's hard to find good people, period. But it really, in Dallas, it's a different thing altogether.
He's at Mount Lutheran. That's where.
Yeah, he was Lutheran. Yeah, he was a Lutheran pastor, and in South Dallas. Yeah.
Now, one of the things that yourself and Commissioner Price has done, you guys have been behind me with the Dallas County Justice Initiative. Mm-hmm. So I want to go ahead and present you with this book, Lynching in America. So
very good. And you know what? That's so good because there are not a lot of books like that, and not a lot of people who understand the reason they need to be nervous now, because we can't afford to go back to Jim Crow again. There's another book that you and I talked about before called 100 Years of Lynching by Rich Ginsburg, where all he does is the news stories that came out. And when you go through all of those lynchings, a lot of them happened right here in Texas. And most of the ones that happened in Texas happened right around Bryan College Station, the whole 9 yards. And so when you put up monuments, people don't understand it. But first of all, it's hard to get done, but you all have the wherewithal to make sure that it gets there. And so when people drive by places, it might not be everybody, but some people need to understand that there is a history. There was a woman who was lynched in Dallas. You just did her last year. Right. You did the monument for her. And people need to understand that history. And
yourself, if Commissioner Price can't be there, then you're there in his stead.
Yeah, that's right. So sometimes both of us there.
Right.
Yeah, it's hard to be at everything,
that.
but I respect that work. I respect the work that you do. My ex high school friend George Keaton. Right. We were the same. Well, he was a year ahead of me at Skyline. But a lot of what we saw at Skyline, a lot of the discrimination we saw at Skyline is what has us in this work now. And that's where George came from. George's daddy was one of the most prolific photographers in Dallas, but he didn't do the establishment shots. He did the club shots and all that. I mean, so he was at the Aransas Club and the Green Parrot and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, those pictures are very valuable.
You went back old school,
Old school, yeah. Can you imagine? You got to realize a lot of us, when we died, it wasn't even in the paper. There wasn't any. That's why black people kept their funeral programs, because a lot of times that was only history. That's the only way you knew who your great uncle was and where they came from.
And I also remember like Jet Magazine used to have on the back of Jet Magazine where you could see black people on TV.
That's it. Yeah. Hey man, you know the
and
most
we'll check
exciting,
them off. Go like, oh, I got this one.
You read this in the book, but the most exciting night of my life was when Rufus Shaw was on the Midnight Special.
You have that in the book as well.
I have that in the book. He was on the Midnight Special. He had just written a book called How to Be a Rich Nigga.
What? You can say that?
Yeah, I think that's what he said.
Oh,
That's what the book said. I'm just quoting what the book said. But it was Wolfman Jack, and we loved Wolfman Jack. Wolfman Jack had another good white man. Wolfman Jack had all of the top black stars, white stars, the people that commingled. Our music was a lot more together then. You know, Casey and the Sunshine Band was part of us, and we were part of him and the whole 9 yards. And so when I saw a guy from Dallas, Texas, saying how to be a rich nigga, and he was sitting on TV, and very effervescent. He was very good, the whole 9 yards. And then to see how his life evolved and the way he left here.
And that's where I say I laughed and I cried.
Yeah.
And that was a part where I cried because that was the part where I cried because that was tragic.
It was tragic, yeah. And a lot of things gone on in Dallas that are tragic. But if nobody ever says it, when I die, I'll go on. They can say at least he tried to say something, because we have. I think you're the one who told me we have very few histories that are written about Dallas from a black perspective.
Well, this is true. I can. When I started my master's thesis, and the first class I took was Dallas history. Yeah. And the Dallas history, because I had a degree in American history, so I took Dallas history, and it was 15 books they had regarding black people.
And only one of them is black, Darwin Payne.
Yeah, that was Darwin Payne.
He was on the black one. Yeah. I used his book for reference for a long time.
Darwin Payne's white.
Yeah.
That was the professor that was in his class.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah. Very good book though.
Yep.
Yeah. He did in-depth stuff.
So that's what he had said, because at that time he had said something about one of the councils that they had, and I said I was on that. Yeah. And he said, oh, well, you would have to be about 17, 18 years old. I said, I was. Yeah.
Well, and you know what? And one of the people that we really do something with, the only walking griot we have left now is Donald Payton. Donald Payton has everything.
And I'm trying to get everyone in Oak Cliff seems like have an honorary doctorate.
I know.
Man,
and most of them just honorary. I don't know about the honorary. Honorary.
It kind of reminds me of back in the day in the 80s, folks. This is what actually happened. You remember when everybody had those fake antennas on their cars? Driving around in Oak Cliff? Yeah. Like they had a car phone and everything.
Man, do you know how many times?
That's how it is with honorary doctors in Oak
Cliff.
How many times
I've had people call me to tell me not only will they get, if I can talk John into it, they will get me an honorary doctor too. I don't need the honorary. I need to earn mine. My daughter, like your daughter, is an earned PhD. That's what I want. Eventually, now that my baby daughter just graduated, I'm gonna go back to school. But I don't want it honorary. I haven't done anything to be honorary. Now John, honorary doctors of laws, if it came from SMU or some school like that, he well deserves that. He paid the price for that. But for me, somebody that I've worked in the field, but I haven't worked the field, so I'm gonna have to do it like you do. I'm gonna have to go to SMU and walk to them classes.
Yeah, have to do it.
Yeah.
So
that's what happened to your knees.
That's what happened to my knees.
I've been walking.
I've been walking. So yeah. So that being said, Donald Payton, as you were saying, we gotta do something for that.
Yeah, we gotta find. And Levi Davis just released his. Levi Davis has a collection of almost 120 Dallas leaders that he did one-on-one sit-downs with through UNT. And we need to do something like that with a few people. Diane Ragsdale, I did a
She's
chapter
in the chapter on her.
Yeah, I did it. Let me tell you something. Diane is a walking cavalcade. I mean, she knows. I mean, when it's funny how even me, a lot of times, stuff that's going on right now, I have a hard time remembering. But that old stuff, she can tell you exactly where she first met Albert Lewis Lipscomb. She can tell you about all the people. What was the guy's name that used to wear a cape sometime? Dallas Jackson. You remember Dallas Jackson? Yeah. I mean, and I watch, and I'm gonna say this because I wanted to put this in. want to say this. I watch DeSoto politics, and it makes me nervous because DeSoto, a lot of people don't understand, is the second most prolific. It's probably the second richest black enclave in Dallas. And I see some of the foolishness that goes with their politics. Not everybody, just a few people. And, you know, at first I used to say it was the new Oak Cliff because the old Oak Cliff
moved.
It moved. And it moved
Except
from
you.
South Oak Cliff High School to it diffused now. The new Oak Cliff
Glen
is
Oaks.
Lancaster, DeSoto, Duncanville, and Cedar Hill.
Yeah, that's where my family lived at in Glen Oaks.
But you got to be politically active. All that foolishness. Now, we had a lot of foolishness. I mean, we had people that, you know, they got mad at John, and they had a hearse come up to the school on election day at South Oak Cliff and say, John Wiley Price is in here and he's dead. You know?
Wow.
And that's good. But that was just hard-nosed competition. He and Charles Rose didn't like each other, but they were about the same business. And you got to be about that. You cannot change people's lives from the garage.
Now, the 23rd Senatorial District, that's where a lot of us were from and from Oak Cliff and everything. They call it the Fighting 23rd.
Right.
And that's where I first met John because
But ain't a whole lot of fighting no more.
But you know, but we fighting, and they are also fighting over dumb stuff.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you know.
That ain't the word I was going to use.
You got people like Rachel Proctor out there, Crystal Chisholm. I mean, these people are putting it down. And, you know, if you don't like them, that's okay. Only 75% of the people like John. He's been there forever. And he never got more than about 80%. You got 20%. But it's okay. It's okay not to join the parade, but don't rain on it just because it ain't your parade. Because one day you're going to be elected. And then the eyes are going to be on you. You know, people think it's easy until they're the one in the seat. And you got to raise money, and you got to get policy done, and you got to deal with other interagencies in order to get things done. And then, you know, it's not funny anymore.
Not funny.
Dog catch the car. You got to figure out what to do with it.
What are you going to do with it?
What you going to do with it?
What we going to do with it? Well, you know, our time is up.
Hey man,
It's
it's
up,
all good.
man. But, you know,
I'll come back.
You'll come back? Okay. We got some more to talk about in here, man. It's just amazing, man.
Look, I did want to say this. I will have a book signing tomorrow. Is it okay for me to talk about
Oh,
that?
man, this is
Tomorrow,
your time.
right
man.
after my pastor is Freddie Haynes at Friendship West
He's in the
Baptist
book,
Church.
too.
You knew that because, you know, that's the kind of church I'd have to go to with kind of stuff I think, that blackity black stuff. But anyway, tomorrow he's hosting a book signing at the church right after church, right around 12-ish. 11:45, 12. You can come by. Commissioner's going to be there. We're going to sign some books, try to sell a few books. I got to pay for some of this. It costs a lot of money to publish yourself, and I don't get in bookstores, so especially now that Black Images is closed. So.
Oh, yeah, we got to do plugs and everything. I'm looking for my Sharpie, man. You had signed this book earlier, man. But when Donald Trump signs something, he always has a Sharpie.
Yeah, but he's sharper than I am. Is it for me?
No, that's for you to sign. We're going to do it on air right now. We're going to do it on air. So, stay tuned. We have Michael Todd, Legal Standpoint with Michael Todd, where we will be talking about, well, all that mess that's going through the South right now. As you know, we live in Dallas, Texas, CSA, the Confederate States of America.
Give me one of these. That's good.
You see, hey,
Go in there and get
Trump gave me this one, man.
Did he?
You want this one?
You sanitize
He
it?
been full of
He
what you got. Ooh.
He told you what it does with it.
Ooh, that's nasty.
My bad.
Yeah, well, that's being said, we're going to let you guys go. So we're going to go ahead and let you guys go. Thank you for listening to the Commish Radio Show. You've seen this. It's been completely unscripted. We even had outtakes where the mic was hot because the show was hot.
Yeah, we ain't scared.
We ain't scared. We ain't never scared.
Peace. Thank you so much for this
No
opportunity.
problem.
Man, I'm just trying to. I'm not trying to get rich. I'm just trying to get the word out to people.
No, you're getting the word out.
We've got to bridge our generation so they understand the history of Dallas and they can make it better because they got a much better chance than we did.
No justice, no peace.
No justice, no peace.
All right, see you guys later. Who was that masked man? You mean you don't know? That was no masked man. That was the Commish. Saturdays from 5 to 6 p.m. on the Fishbowl Radio Network. Hey, how you doing? This is